Hello and welcome back to Helluva Podcast. I'm Alex.
I'm Odie, the aw is silent.
And today we're going to be talking about full moon.
Ooh, boy. We sure are, buddy.
We sure are. The most recent episode that's come out is Ghost Fuckers, which came out yesterday?
2 days ago.
On
As
Halloween.
of recording this, yeah.
Yeah.
And the most recent short is Helluva Short number 4, Mission Chupacabras.
Yes.
We're gonna try and get through the whole thing for a full moon today, which we should be able to do. We only have 4 pages of notes, which is not a lot for us. That's very much on the short end.
No, that sounds crazy, but that is very on the short end.
Yeah, 4 single-spaced pages on Google Docs, to be clear.
Yes.
With what we're working with, that is on the short end. So we're gonna get through it, probably.
Yeah, I think we should still be fast because we're gonna inevitably get caught up on one bullet point because we always fucking do.
Yeah, but honestly, like, the bulk of this episode and our discussion is the song at the start and then the ending.
Yeah.
But all the stuff in the middle, we just have, like, little things on, so...
Like Fizz.
We'll get to that.
All right, our first bit is the song.
The song. So we're gonna take it person at a time. That didn't make sense.
Character by character.
Character by character. We're gonna start with Stolas's parts of the song. So bro, homie Stolas, I don't know why I'm talking like this. He wakes up, sees the, like, full moon alert, and immediately pukes all over the place.
So real.
But yeah, bro had an anxiety tummy ache.
Yeah.
Also maybe hungover.
Or both, which
both.
is the worst of both worlds.
Yeah. Besides the puking, his portion of the song is so Disney princess energy, and also very similar to When He Sees Me from Waitress, which is what I've been fucking saying since day one.
And people who are listening to the podcast more throughout or, like, became friends recently, you might be able to tell us better, because I actually have no idea I know you said that on the podcast recently, especially since, like, the trailer, or not the trailer, but, like, the leak from the con came out, and you were like, this is just what I've been saying. But you have been saying this since day one. I'm hoping you mentioned it maybe in our season 1 analysis somewhere so that it's seated.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, I know I talked about it when we did the circus, which I, definitely before Full Moon, I think was also before this song leaked, but I could be wrong.
I don't know.
But the song is literally called When I See Him.
Yeah, it is.
It's When He Sees Me from Waitress.
Yeah, that is what it is.
And I cannot believe my big ass brain.
Yeah. He's so smart.
I'm so smart.
And then Solas also still has a bandage on his arm, like, presumably from Western Energy still, which is really interesting because, like, given his whole healing curve, did something particular happen to his arm?
I don't know. Is that where he got stabbed?
He got stabbed in a lot of places.
No, he got stabbed in a lot of places, but, like, I feel like that first stab wound was, like, the shoulder or something.
Yeah, is it on here or is it on, like, his forearm?
I think it's on his forearm, so
Yeah.
it doesn't really matter. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think anything about his recovery really makes sense. I don't think... My guess is that they didn't want it to, like, be a factor in the plot in later episodes.
I mean,
so,
fair
like,
enough,
they
yeah.
did the bandage to show, like, yeah, he got hurt bad and is still recovering, but also, like, you know, mechanically,
Yeah.
it doesn't really have any impact on the show.
Real. It is just interesting because, you know, everything is animated with intention.
It's
so.
true. Yeah. Yeah, and Stolas is expecting / hoping for this night with Blitz to go picture perfect. Like, it's not necessarily that he thinks it will go picture perfect. He does have a lot of doubt and uncertainty about it that he, like, expresses in this song. But his ideal circumstances are, like, you know, Blitz has the same feelings for me, and we get to be together, and it's exactly what I want. And that's, like, you know, it's okay to hope for that, obviously, but it is also, like, unrealistic, and, like, that's what his ideal outcome is just what makes him the happiest.
Yeah, especially because, like, in that circumstance, where the hell would Blitz be happy? Like, he would hate that.
Yeah.
And also, like, that is what Stolas, like, wants ideally, but is that actually what he wants, or is that just, like, kind of a fairy tale thing, you know?
Yeah.
When Stolas finds out he's out of happy pills, he goes, "Oh, gods!"
Which is so real. Me, when my antidepressants run out and my prescriber won't email me back. Like, truly.
Yeah. I wonder if there's, like, stigma and barrier to mental health medication in hell.
Wow. You're in hell. You don't deserve to be happy.
Yeah. But, like, for Hellborn, like...
there is, considering this is more into, like, has-been territory, but, like, the world building and has-been of, like, what makes someone good versus bad, a lot of the same stigma is there, like, around sex and drugs in general, so I feel like, I don't know, it feels like a lot of the same earth, and specifically...
Yeah, which I feel like is probably very intentional.
Yeah.
Because it's meant to be like, oh my god, all that bigotry and stigma on Earth that sucks, it's in hell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, you pointed this out. That Stolas empties out his fridge just to climb in it. It would seem like everything's on the ground and he's in the fridge, so... It would seem that he just chucked everything out of it so he could get inside.
Which he's so real. Homie is autistic, and loves a little space to hide in.
Yeah, maybe he's having like a hot flash from his anxiety.
Yeah.
You know, happens to the best of us, man.
Yeah, and then it works for both.
Yeah, exactly.
He's eating the Funky Oval cereal, which is such a small detail, but is so packed.
Yeah.
Because, like you pointed out, we see him eating Fizzos in Lululand, which could mean a few things that he's not eating them now. Could mean a few things. One, that they've been discontinued after the Mammon episode, which would be great.
Yeah.
But
it makes sense.
Yeah, it would make sense. It's also possible that Stolas, through Ozzy, learned about the treatment that Mammon did and why Fizz is a brand figure, and now he's boycotting, which I really like to believe.
Stolas is a hashtag ally.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, oh, that's fucked up. Yeah. Gotta stand up for my guy. Third option, these are, quote, funky ovals with the tagline, weird shapes for sad demons. So maybe he switched to the cereal because he's been more sad.
Yeah.
And also, in Lululand, we see him and Via eating from the same cereal. So entailing that they both like eat the cereal in the house. So they're both eating the funky ovals as well.
Yeah.
So they're both sad demons.
And
which...
It's really just a metaphor for how depression and mental illness is genetic.
Yeah, no, and it's intentional. But no, they're both eating this for sad demons, which is obviously true, like we know that. But it's the fact that Stolas like bought this and was like, "This is great for me and my daughter."
Yeah,
it's crazy.
It's so funny. Yeah, I guess option. Oh no, that wouldn't make sense. I was gonna say the fourth possibility is that Stella bought it for him and it's like, "'Cause you're such a sad man."
And he was like, "Thank you."
Thank you. But they're already divorced and she's out of there at this point.
Yeah,
so
it could. I could totally see her like showing up to pick up Via and be like, "And stole this. I saw this at the store for you." You know?
Yeah.
Divorced moms.
Mm-hmm. True. No,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And also to couple with the funky ovals, weird shapes for sad demons, Stolas is drinking out of a mug that says "Sad Dad" on it. Which is very funny, especially because I have a shirt that says "Rad Dad" on it, and I'm just kind of picturing him in that, but with the sad dad mug. It's such a fit.
And it's also like, obviously Stolas is the kind of dad that would buy himself like Father's Day stuff, but that kind of like a something dad item is typically a Father's Day gift.
Yeah.
So like, did Via get him the sad dad mug?
Yeah, and he's just so happy to have gotten a present from her.
Yeah. Or he bought it for himself because he's like, I am a sad dad.
Yeah. Then there's the lyric. We haven't actually talked about the song itself very much. To clarify, this is all stuff happening like during the song.
Yeah, it's the animation.
Visually, yeah. But lyric-wise, Stolas says, "Come to your senses. He's worthy of your love and trust," which is an interesting line that I think you had more thoughts on.
Yeah, sorry, I was mid-yawn. So come to your senses, he's worthy of your love and trust.
About Blitz.
Blitz, yeah. So, like, convincing himself that he's worthy of... Stolas convincing himself that he's worthy of his love and trust, that Blitz is worthy of Stolas' love and trust, is crazy. Because that means you didn't think it at first.
Yeah, and
So, and, like, that's kind of the whole, like, that's the thesis statement, you know, the whole, like, class divide, he thinks badly of imps and lower status people, etc., etc. But the fact that he has to be, like, come to your senses, which is, like, get your head in the game, essentially.
Yeah.
He's worthy of your love and trust.
Yeah, I think, and we'll get into this later with the scene, but I think it does come back to Stolas, like, a lot of the way he acts towards Blitz comes from a place of his own self-hatred towards himself, and, like, you know, that's, you know, that, like, that's real, and, you know, it's real that he feels that way, and that sucks for him, but he lets it seep into his relationships with other people, which Blitz also does.
Yeah.
They're both guilty of it, for sure. But
then they get mad at each other for it.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay.
He's worthy of your love and trust, to me, feels like, you know, you have to let other people in, even if it scares you. Like, it's less about Blitz as a person and more like, no, other, like, he's worthy of, like, having a relationship with, or I'm worthy of having a relationship with him, almost.
Yeah, and that makes sense, and that's, I think, what I thought at first, but the way it's worded, he's worthy of your love and trust.
It's definitely double-sided, for sure.
I could see the trust, because, like, you know, you have to be vulnerable. I guess love in the same way with, like, vulnerability, specifically, but he's worthy of your love is, like, so charged.
Yeah. I don't think he doesn't even realize it.
Exactly, yeah.
And that's the thesis statement.
Exactly.
We got a lot of thesis statements.
I think this episode is kind of just a thesis statement.
Yeah. And then Stolas also he holds a flower, which is, like, the same kind of flower he had in the hospital, and when like, the petals are falling, and it's that sort of he loves me not scene, which we talk more about in energy.
You all listen to that.
We can't get into that right now, but if you've listened to our episode, you know what we're talking about. And I think other fans have made similar analyses of it, but yeah, it's the same flower, basically. And he's, like, holding it and, like, strokes it, and while singing about Blitz.
And I think these are kind of just one of his, like, favorite flowers. He has a lot of them. I think in his garden we see that a lot as well, like, outside.
Yeah.
But it is interesting given the, like, the love me not connotation, and then now it really, like, solidifies it.
Yeah. This episode, visually alone, has so much, like, there's so much packed in, which we'll call that out more as we go. Like, you know, the show in general is known for its small visual details and gags and stuff, but there's a lot of, like, very significant stuff in this one that we'll get to.
And then Bryce Pinkman, is that how you say it?
Pinkham.
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 Pinkham. Pinkham.
Pinkham.
Pinkham.
Pinkham?
I barely know him.
Whoa! The guy who plays Stolas.
Yes. His vocals, his vocal and his acting when he sings.
Yes.
What's that called? His characterization, his emotion. You get what I'm saying.
Inflection.
Inflection, that's it.
Yeah.
His inflection when he sings is so good.
Yeah. That man can sing.
Yeah, that is true. I think that, you know, might be why they hired him.
Maybe.
But then Blitz's side of the song. You want to take his horse calendar?
Yeah, of course he has a horse calendar. And of course we jotted down, you know, the most significant things on said calendar.
Which, by the way, like, almost every day has, like, a note. Like, it's written on.
Or a doodle or something.
Yeah.
So, we didn't write down what days these things are on, but it's not...
I don't think it really matters.
It's not really important. So there's a day that says Millie Party, which, is that a birthday party? Is it a separate party? I don't know. Unclear.
Also, we should check if that was after full moon and if it got skipped in his little bout.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we should check all of these.
Well, the full moon is towards the end of the month, so
Oh, no, you're right. It is the very end. You're right. My bad.
So I don't think it's the very end, but I'm pretty sure the vast majority of things were before.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah. Then there's Moxie Day, which I'd have to look more closely at the handwriting, but, like, did Blitz write this or did Moxie write this? What is a Moxie Day?
It's giving, like the daddy-daughter day.
Which is also on here.
Yeah, exactly. Day. So I would love to think that Blitz wrote it.
Yeah.
And he was like, I'm having a day with Looney, I'm having a day with Moxie.
Yeah, but I guess Millie gets a party, but she doesn't also get a day? I don't know.
Maybe after Ghostbugger she gets a day.
Maybe, yeah.
They bonded.
Yeah. And then there's a day where he wrote Call Fizzies, which is so freaking cute.
Yeah.
Fizz's store is called Fizzies, we assume. But Blitz wouldn't have had this scheduled in for the full moon. Like, he goes to Fizz's store today, but he didn't have that scheduled. That was like he got these doubts in his head, and he looked through all his sex shit and was like, I need more stuff. It was spontaneous. So he didn't have this, like, this thing on his calendar, that's a separate thing he had scheduled in, meaning he either had other business at Fizz's store or was just calling to say hello.
Yeah.
Either way, very sweet, very supportive.
Yeah, I mean, a few things. One, he could just be getting sex toys for himself, which would be real.
Yeah.
Two, we don't know for sure that his his store in general is called Fizzy's, do we?
No, we don't.
Because he also this could just be Fizzy, nickname, *S, meaning calling his house.
Yeah, this is true. I did not consider this possibility. It's very true.
So Call Fizzy's could just be calling Ozzy's phone.
Yeah. Wait, or Fizzy's, that could be his ship name he gave Fizz and Ozzy's, so it's their collective home.
That's really good.
So he's calling both of them?
I hope so.
If it is just his nickname for Fizz, that's so funny because that's Ozzy's very romantic
nickname
for Fizz, and it's like, did Blitz have that nickname for Fizz before Ozzy, like when they were kids? And
we've speculated on that because that was Mammon's nickname first.
Right.
So like if he was Fizzy as a kid,
yeah,
that would make a lot of sense.
Yeah, and it also, Mammon aside, it's really funny if Ozzy starts calling him Fizzy romantically and Fizz is just thinking of Blitz and he's like,
yeah, especially too, because he calls him Fizz, and obviously, like, I think when we see, if Cash says Fizz's name, he doesn't say Fizz, he says Fizzaroli.
Yeah.
No, he actually definitely does say Fizzaroli because he says it like that, like, really aggressively. Yeah. Ollie. But... So the nickname Fizz could inherently just be Blitz's nickname for him.
Yeah.
But also I could totally see, like, he's called Fizz by everyone, but then, like, they have, like, a little sleepover and they're, like, laughing. He's, like, Fizzy,
Yeah.
Oh, cute.
Also, like, if, other than Blitz's dad, I don't think we ever hear anyone else call him Fizzaroli, right?
I think...
Like, in a casual, like, friendly way.
In a casual, friendly way, I don't think so. I think, like, businessly, yeah.
Yeah, but it'd be interesting, like, especially now that he's quit working for Mammon, if he's dropped the Raleigh part in the same way that Blitz has dropped the O. And so that way, that would also explain why now, like, that they're buddies when Blitz is like, no, I don't use the O anymore. Fizz, like, as we've seen, just accepts it and doesn't call him Blitzo.
Yeah. No, that would be really interesting, too, because the O... is the clownish part, and all Raleigh is very clowny.
Yeah.
So that, because Fizz, like, not that it's, like, a normal name, but I would meet some trans mask named Fizz, you know?
So true.
Like, and, yeah.
I was also just thinking, I feel like Ollie would also be a cute nickname from Fizzaroli.
Yeah, cute.
Yeah.
I love that little guy.
I love him so much.
Also, another thing about Fizzies that's really interesting to me is that's what the bots are called. They're called Fizzies, yeah.
Oh, shit.
So, why? Like, that, if it's that contagion, that's weird.
Yeah.
And I don't think it is, given the context of everything else with him and Fizz, but that, I feel like I need to say.
Yeah.
And then the only other thing on the calendar is just deadline.
Yeah, for what? That's so honest.
I would love to think that Blitz puts that on there and then goes back to it and goes, what the fuck is this deadline?
Yeah, so true.
Because he would.
Yeah. I also wonder with things like that if it's like an Easter egg for the crew, like they animated in and it's like some deadline that they had in the show.
Real.
I don't know. But yeah, moving on from the calendar, which took up most of Blitz's notes, this is the first time that Brandon Rogers sings in the show.
Yeah, because, fun little fact, for those of you that don't know, Truth Seekers, not Brandon Rogers.
Not Brandon Rogers.
I think it's very clearly not, but I guess if you don't, like, think about it,
yeah. Even in the show, Moxie's like, why do you sound like that?
Yeah.
But, yeah, no, not even the same guy. And then, I don't know if I even mentioned this to you, but I saw an interview, just a clip from it on YouTube, but where Brandon Rogers was talking about singing for this episode, and the way he spoke implied that there's going to be more of it in later episodes.
Yeah.
Which makes sense, you know. He's the main character. They could only get away with him not singing for so long.
Yeah.
Like, now that they've, you know, opened that door, it's not closing.
Right, exactly. And he's good.
Yeah, he's good. Like, a lot of this is more, spoken
rappy kind of stuff.
Yeah,
but like
there are some parts where he harmonizes and it's like,
and also like not everyone's gonna be Stolas' voice actor.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Not everyone's gonna be fucking Alex Brightman. Like, this whole, like, Broadway star-studded cast, that's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
So, like, just having him do harmonies and stuff, that's totally fine. I would love to see, too, like, Blitz being, like, more rappy and, like, subtle and not, like, super vocal with his singing makes a lot of sense.
Makes a lot of sense.
Like, if you broke out a bunch of harmonies and, like, high notes, I wouldn't have liked it.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't have been out of character.
Weird. Yeah. But if he did get, like, a ballad at some point, though,
Yeah.
I'd fuck happy with that.
Like Owl in a Cage-esque.
Yeah. But yeah, that's exciting. He also, Blitz makes blue pancakes for breakfast.
Lusty cakes.
Lusty cakes, because blue is the color of the lust ring. I mean, that was the only explanation we could think of for why they're blue.
I mean, homie could just like blue food.
But yeah, homie's a Percy Jackson fan.
Yeah. But also, being lusty cakes is really interesting to me because does that mean there's like horny dust in them? Like is he putting fucking what's it called? The stuff that makes you come more and makes your dick hard longer. What's that called?
Viagra?
Yeah, Viagra. Is he putting that in there? Like, what?
I don't know, man.
Like, what is the they must be lusty because why else would they be blue in this very specific episode?
Yeah.
And also everything else he's doing like that and making them lusty makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
But what does that actually mean mechanically for this demon?
And also Luna, like, comes out, sees him,
Yeah.
and then just goes back in her room.
Yeah, that too. I was confused why they decided to, like, animate that into, like, a whole thing instead. Because she would just be like, if he was just making pancakes.
Yeah.
But she sees he's fucking.
Yeah. Yeah.
Next line.
You want me to take this?
Yeah.
Quote,
Quote.
I'll eat his bird puss, nice and rough.
Yes.
End quote.
This is what Blitz says.
So canonically,
Yeah.
If we're taking what he's saying as true here, then
Yeah.
canonically he does eat Stolas out.
Yeah.
But then in Helluva Short Operation Antarctica, Blitz is really bad at tugging this Osmodian crystal.
Yeah.
So, is he canonically bad at eating Stolas out?
So one thing here is that it says, quote, I'll eat his bird push nice and rough, which the whole thing about the Osmodian crystal is that he can't be gentle with it. So, like, I guess some people might like being eaten out rough, but I feel like that's not the majority, and I feel like that's a really common misconception, that people do enjoy being eaten out really rough. So I think maybe Blitz just has that toxic masculinity with it, and is like, oh my god, rough sex all the time.
Yeah.
But I don't want to brush that completely under the rug, because I'm sure that some people do like it, especially in kink culture, which we know that they are really in, as a couple. But, yeah. He's very bad at sensual oral.
Yeah, this is maybe getting way too into it, but I'd be really curious if, like, the Osmodian crystals, like, if each person's crystal sort of aligns with, like, because, you know, we know from Ozzy he's all about, like, consent and making sure everyone's having a good time.
Yeah.
So I'd be interested if, like, his crystal specifically isn't into that rougher sex because it's, like, you know, trying to teach him to, you know, lean more into that sensualness.
I was going to bring that up because that's, like, what it's doing. Like, we actively see he gets better at it. He learns how to eat out better.
Yeah.
Like, we see that on screen. So, it's working. And so I'd love to know if that was intentional. I would love if, especially if Ozzy, like, if Ozzy and Stolas have one conversation. Or, like, I don't know how we would know. But, like, if he specifically programmed it, like, it's not magical.
No, because maybe there's probably, like, some sort of, like, form or process you have to go through to get a crystal. So, like, once Ozzy is, like, you know, talks to Fizz, and then he's like, alright, Stolas, you can get a crystal for Blitz. So then they're talking and doing, like, this intake form process, and he's like, alright, what kind of sex do you guys get up to? And Stolas is just telling him, and then Ozzy can maybe, like, tell by the way he's talking that it's, like, not fully working for him.
Yeah.
So he's like, so this roughness, is that, like, what you prefer? And Stolas is like, you know, sometimes. Ozzy's like, I see. And then he just, like, jots something down. And Blitz's
Make
crystal.
Blitz eat out crystal gently.
Yeah. I want to take this moment to shout out the 15% of our listeners who listen to this podcast on an Amazon Alexa.
Because what the fuck?
Why? According to our data, of our total 5,600 listens, which thank you, by the way.
Yes.
864 of you, roughly. 864
Not of you, but of the listeners. Of listens.
Of 864 plays have been on an Amazon Alexa.
And do you want to talk about our last 7 day stats?
And in the last 7 days, we've had, like, 89 listens, and 9 of those listens were on an Amazon Alexa. And in the past 7 days, our highest age demographic has been ages 0 to 17.
Right, so there's a few things here. One, no one is listening, or at least I hope you're not listening to a full episode of our podcast. It did just occur to me that it could be one person listening to every single episode.
Yeah.
But no one's listening to the same episode again in 1 week, is what I'm saying. So it's at least 9 separate hours.
Yeah.
On an Amazon Alexa.
It's so...
In front of God and everyone?
In front of God, your mom, and everyone.
Yeah, no, because the second thing is the age. So if you are 12 years old...
Yeah.
You better not be like a fucking YouTube kid playing this in your living room while your mom's cooking dinner, okay?
We would like to acknowledge our young audience, which makes up a large percentage of you, and we would just like to say that we have always been clear that this is an explicit podcast about an explicit subject, and it is not our fault if you get in trouble.
Yeah.
You know what you're supposed to be listening to.
Also,
you're not.
Your mom does not want to... Your mom might be a fan. If your mom's a fan, you listen together, great. Your mom does not want to hear this otherwise.
Your mom does not want to hear us analyzing Blitz's oral sex capabilities.
No.
No one wants to listen to that. In fact, goodbye.
Ends the episode.
But yeah, anyway, moving on, I guess.
Yeah,
I don't know.
that was really harsh. We do love all of our young listeners. I want to make that clear.
Yeah. We thank you for sticking around.
We do, and we know that some of you are our biggest supporters by the way you comment on everything, and we can tell you've listened to the whole thing, and you're very sweet.
And we appreciate it.
But that, yeah, it was very shocking because, like, I know you iPad kids just play shit out loud all the time.
Yeah.
Your families do not need to be hearing our podcast. Put some earbuds in.
Yeah, truly. But let's move on. We're getting into sort of the middle portion of the episode now. So starting with like the cherubs and the agents, which first off, we predicted that they'd be working together like way back.
Yeah, I think in that episode that they're in?
Cherubs?
Yep. See, I hate that episode, so I never want to rewatch it. I forgot the name.
No, I'm pretty sure in, if not cherubs, then
it's called fucking cherubs.
It's called cherubs. If not in cherubs, then in our Truth Seekers episode, we definitely, in season 1, we said that we think they're gonna work together.
Yes, definitely.
Because of the season 1 antagonist.
Oh yeah, it was definitely Truth Seekers is what I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we were right. We're right about everything. They're probably gonna work together even more, maybe.
Yeah.
So.
We've also never been wrong about anything ever, including Fizz's whole arc.
Yeah.
We've never been wrong.
You know what? But by the time, like, we didn't really get into our theories on Fizz very much before all of the stuff was revealed. Like, we just weren't that far in the podcast.
Yeah.
So I think we're in the clear.
I think we're in the clear. We did shit on him for an entire episode once. I do remember.
Did we?
Yes. Before, like, anything else on him came out. But to be fair, when you just watch Ozzy's...
Yeah. he seems like a dick.
Yeah.
But the thing is, Blitz is not a reliable narrator.
No. No.
So that's the
He's getting a little more reliable, which is nice.
A little better, yeah. But yeah, cherubs and the agents working together. And then also what I think is really interesting is that the cherubs mention the exorcists, which is a nod to the Has-Been lore, which never really gets brought up in Helluva, but just if you're unfamiliar, brief overview that in Has-Been, there are angels in heaven who are exorcists, and once a year or whatever the fuck, they come down to hell and they kill a bunch of sinners to like keep the hell's population in check and also like prevent an uprising.
Yeah, dead ass population control.
Yeah, and the cherubs like lie and refer to themselves as exorcists and say that they want to kill Blitz or who. You know, they're trying to prove that their worth to the agents.
Right.
But this is interesting to me because this is the first confirmation we've got that the Exorcists, like, obviously, Hasbin and Helluva take place in the same universe, but, like, the timeline of, like, if they're happening at the same time or roughly in the same time period, that's never been really certain. So it would seem that the Exorcists do still exist in
or at least before they got kicked out of heaven.
Yeah.
So at least in the very beginning of the show they did.
Yeah.
Because they have no connection to heaven now. If they'd stopped
true.
using them, they wouldn't know.
That's true, yeah.
But it's only been like a few years max that they've been out of there, so.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's interesting. I'd be curious to know if the lore is going to overlap more.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want Helluva to be about that at all, and I don't think it would be, but
yeah.
It would be cool to have more of the world building in Helluva because the world building is really cool.
Yeah, I think too, we've already talked in length, and I don't remember what episode this was in, but we talked a lot about how the characters are probably never going to overlap, even if we want them to, for copyright reasons, and like that's good because we want this one to stay independent. But I think it's also interesting because it's very much like this show is kind of the Hellborn show, whereas the other one's kind of the Sinner show. Even though like Charlie is there.
Yeah.
But that is a little different. Because this is like, we see sinners in this show, but it's from the point of view of the Hellborn.
Yeah.
They're annoying as fuck. They want to kill them.
Yeah.
And it's kind of flipped in the other one. Yeah.
Yeah. It is interesting that in both shows it involves doing a service for the sinners, though.
Yeah.
Like Charlie's hotel is to rehabilitate sinners, and then Blitz's job is to be a hitman for sinners.
Yeah, even though it's not how it started, but...
Yes. It's how it started from our perspective, though.
Yes.
Like from Murder Family.
From Murder Family, yeah. We get a little more detail about that in the recent episode, but...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
In Ghostfuckers.
In Ghostfuckers, but that's not this episode.
We're so excited. We're getting close.
We're getting close.
We are almost caught up, guys.
Yeah, also...
We started this podcast in March of 2022? No. Yes? No, 23.
23, yeah. I was like, no. We were in fucking high school in March
Yeah,
of 22.
I was like, whoa. March, April-ish of 2023. Yeah. And we are, after this, we will be 2 episodes away from being caught up.
Yeah. That's crazy. We are killing it. And then also, after the next 2 episodes come out, they're going to go on a hiatus, right? For next season. So,
presumably, yeah.
So we might have some time for bonus content.
Which, yeah, very exciting.
But... I had something to say. Oh, we're so fucking excited to talk about Ghostfuckers.
So excited.
There's so much.
Yeah, we've both, unless you've rewatched it.
I haven't.
No, we watched it together the day it came out, and we're very excited to watch it over and over and analyze. We did take parts of it. I have an extension on my laptop that lets me put YouTube videos all the way down to 0.1 times the speed.
Yeah, as opposed to like 1 times speed.
Yeah, 0.1. So literally frame by frame by frame. And we did that for, well, I won't talk about it in case people haven't seen it yet, but 2 very specific scenes in the new episode.
You'll know.
Yeah. 2 very intense scenes.
Which, like, there's one that definitely had to be frame by frame because it's flashes.
Yeah.
But the other one, like, there was parts that it was just like, okay, we get that he's turning his head.
yes, yeah.
But yeah, crazy episode. If you haven't watched it, go watch it. It did just come out.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you haven't watched it, watch it. Because we'll probably start talking about it in the next episode. Because at that point, it'll be enough time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, what's our next note? Where are we?
The agents have an army of priest clones.
Oh yeah, that's crazy.
And
You wrote clones.
I wrote clones, I'm sorry. And it's sort of glossed over in this episode. Like, it's not really the focus. But it does make me think of, in the Season 2, Part 2 trailer, we see this army of people in red robes.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's not really clear who those people are, and my best guess at who they are is the priest clones.
Yeah.
Could be something totally different. I just don't know what that would be.
Playing with religion is really interesting here. Because obviously the concept of heaven and hell is religious.
Hasbin and Helluva are steeped in Catholicism / Christianity.
Yes. Yeah. But also, like, bringing in priests, like, that's very clear.
Very direct, yeah.
And then also red priest, I feel like, is a very specific type. I don't know.
They are indeed priests.
Yeah, I don't know that off the top of my head, but I know that, like, the colors of the cloaks are important.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's interesting. I'm excited to see more.
Yeah. And then also, they, again, kind of glossed over. There's more important toxic yaoi happening in this episode. But
You love your toxic yaoi.
But the secret agents have created a portal to hell. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And, like,
And they sent children first. I was gonna say child soldiers, but not really. They're kind of just kids.
Just kids. Yeah, because they could only make the portal a certain size, which is funny. But the fact that they've successfully created a portal to hell is so funny to me and so crazy. And surely that's gonna lead to things.
Also, the fact that we know for sure, I'm pretty sure we know for sure that they're American because of their accents.
Yeah.
So then we know for sure that the American government is funding them, like,
Yes.
a lot.
Yeah.
To make a portal to hell is crazy.
Yeah. I think specifically after Truth Seekers, because they got video evidence.
Yeah.
So they got more funding, and that's why they have these priest clones and shit.
Insane.
Yeah, this episode is funny because it's, like, just casual, portal to hell, exorcism.
Yeah, it's a bunch of world building with no detail.
Yeah.
It's like when someone, like a kid writes a short story and it has a bunch of world building, but they don't flesh it out. So it's just like, they're on top of a mountain now. That's what this is.
And I think it's honestly deliberate.
Yeah, I do think so too.
I think it's like, hey, by the way, all of this stuff is true, but don't worry about that right now. Blitz and Stolas are about to break up. And then later they're gonna, like, bring this back in and be like, hey, we told you.
And it works. Because everyone is focused on Blitz and Stolas.
Yeah. It's similar to the sort of, like, tiny little things they did, like, way back in Murder Family when Moxie's like, or a mob family.
Yeah.
Like, on a smaller scale, but, like, they're always thinking ahead and trying to, like, draw our attention away.
Which also, I know that this is the Blitz show.
Yeah.
And so we're probably not going to get more of this. But I think it's really weird the way that they paced and gave X's and O's so much moxie. Mm-hmm. No pun intended. Like, obviously Crimson is a reoccurring villain. We've already seen him come back. But he hasn't come back for Moxie.
Yeah.
And, like, I feel like they built so much.
Yeah.
And then they just, like, so much that they can work with. Like, having that strong relationship with flashbacks and everything. And then not doing anything with it is frustrating.
I think Crimson, he definitely is going to come back for Moxie. Like, that episode ends with him throwing a knife at the picture of Moxie's face.
Yeah. It's just been a while.
It's been a while. Well, in real life it has. In episodes, it's been not that long, honestly.
Yeah. It's just interesting to me that we see him again and there's no clear plan of what he's going to do with Moxie.
Yeah, well, he was hiring Stryker not to get Blitz.
Yeah.
That was just Stryker proving his merit, but he was hiring Stryker just because he needed a hitman. So probably for Moxie.
No, that's true.
And yeah, if he doesn't come back again by the end of this season, I'll be surprised.
Yeah.
But right now, I think it makes sense.
Yeah, I think it makes sense too. I just think, and we'll get into this a little bit too with Moxie's characterization.
Yeah.
It's been wonky.
Yeah. Our last notes on the Charubs and agents, although we will get into the fight scene with them in a bit, but they have the agents give the Charubs these robo suits that are designed to, like, mimic the IMP crew.
Yeah.
And they're all, like, pretty subtle. Like, they're robotic suits that just kind of look vaguely like the IMP crew.
Yeah.
And then there's a fursuit of Luna.
Hate it so much.
Why?
Because it's interesting. I think it's funny. But it's also, like, I think with the way that they sexualize Luna, I don't love it. Like, if they didn't sexualize her outside of it, it would be fine.
Yeah.
But they do.
But they do. And specifically, Agent... I don't know which one is which. Number 2?
2, the guy. Yeah. Sorry, we Bluetoothed.
So insane. Yeah, we Bluetoothed. Yeah. Agent number 2 wears the suit and is really enjoying it. But, like, that could be innocent. Like, there's
it could be
nothing
innocent.
inherently sexual about it.
No, there isn't, but she is holding him by the leash when they come back.
Yeah.
Which,
but
again...
he could just be really into it.
Yeah, they could just be
Role-playing.
playing, little dog.
Yeah. Also, there's nothing sexual between them that we know of. I'm sure, but it hasn't...
Look at him.
But it hasn't even been, like, alluded to.
No, it hasn't.
So, I don't know.
No, I don't think it... I don't know. I've seen a lot of weird shit online about it, and a lot of people taking it weird.
Yeah.
So I think that's what I'm coming from.
Yeah, it definitely is encouraging that. I don't know that it inherently is meant to be sexual or anything.
I just think the way they handle her, like, in the show, but mainly with the merch, like, the actual creators off-screen handle her.
Yeah.
I don't like anything when they're like, oh my god, we're gonna, like, make a fursuit of her. You know, like, I don't...
Yeah, it feels...
And why is her as a fursuit? Why isn't her as a robot?
Yeah. No, the joke that's in, Spring Broken about, like, we know what you freaks up there are into, that joke is funny, but it reads a little weird when, like, Luna is kind of only there as a wolf girl to be sex appeal.
Yeah.
Like, they know exactly what they're doing with her design. Mm-hmm. And if they are trying to, like, you know, subvert that, they're not doing a good job. They're just kind of leaning into it. And, like, yeah.
And again, like, because, like, go fucking look at her merch, and same with Millie's merch, and then look at, like, well, they sexualize Moxie a little bit, too, actually.
Yeah.
But, like, Blitz, and... Yeah. Honestly, Stolas is less sexualized in the merch, I feel, than he is in the show. Like, he's really sexualized in the show because he, as a character, is like that. But, it's interesting. Like, that joke, too, I think, because that was what I was thinking, is the fursuit might be in tandem with that, with, like, oh, we're trying to make it more funny and lighthearted, as opposed to sexual, like they were trying to do with the joke. But also, like, they know who their audience is, and they're actively encouraging them.
Yeah, and to be clear, obviously this is a sex show. It's a sexual show. We're more getting at the, you know, the women in the show suck, and one of them is clearly only there to be sexualized.
Yeah.
But the, you know, the sexual nature of the show in general, and even you know the furries fursuit. We're not saying anything negative inherently about any of these things. We're just commentating. It's really interesting entirely. Yeah. It's just there's some layers there.
Yeah. We hope you guys all just heard someone in our dorm go, "Oh my god."
Screaming, "Oh my god." Gross sense.
True. All right, IMP office.
IMP office. It's been a few months since the last fuck session.
Between all of them in the office.
It's been a few months since the last office orgy. No. Since Blitz and Stolas' last fuck session. Luna puts, you know, Blitz says this, and then Luna kind of puts these doubts in his mind. She's like, oh shit, he's gonna break it off with you.
Yeah, well, she says, oh, he's getting bored of you, or something like that.
Yeah. And definitely contributes to, you know, he has a lot of valid reasons to be angry at Stolas later, and we'll get into that, but also he does freak out at him very quickly. Yeah. And I feel like these doubts that Luna puts in his head probably contribute to that, because... Especially
because he was so ready, he was like, I got my sexy little outfit, I'm gonna fuck him good, I'm gonna make up for the lost time, and she was like, oh, he fucking hates you.
Yeah, and then he gets there, and it seems like that's being proven right.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I'd freak out too.
Yeah.
Yeah. He also has a box labeled sex shit for Stolas that he keeps in the office.
I want to know if this is like, because, like, first of all, this shows that he very much views their encounters as work and only work, which is interesting. But also, I want to know if they ever have fuck sessions in the office, and that's why it's in the office, or if he gets booty called so often while he's at work that he has it. Because, like, what other, if those two aren't true, then what other reason would it not be at his house?
I don't know. Yeah. Maybe he just always, like, leaves straight from work to go to Stolas' place, too.
But imagine he's, like, he's not doing paperwork. But
bro is not doing paperwork.
No, imagine he's, like, on the phone with a client, and then he, like, gets another call. He's like, please hold, and then it's, like, he booty calls. Fuck.
Yeah, leaves them on hold the whole time. Comes back, like, an hour or two later. He's like, alright, sorry, what were you saying? Yeah, and then also Blitz says that him and Stolas have used everything in the box, and while he's saying this, he pulls out a doll of Moxie.
Yeah.
So they've used the doll of Moxie also, which, of course, Blitz is into.
I think it was probably for Blitz.
Yeah. Like, Blitz brings the whole box over, and Stolas is like, oh, it's your coworker. Blitz is like, oh, it's my coworker, alright.
He's like, voyeuristic, I'm into it.
Yeah. He just sent Moxie like being used somehow.
Yeah, I think I meant to say something else, but no, I'm sticking with voyeuristic.
No, I like that. They just, like,
the button eyes.
They put him on a table. Blitz is like having a hard time, and then he looks over at Moxie and comes everywhere.
Especially because we and I'll stop saying so much about ghost fuckers, but we do get confirmation that he would still fuck Moxie.
Yeah. I am so fucking excited to talk about ghost fuckers. Yeah.
Hans's bag.
Hans's bag. Blitz has a bag that says Hans.
And it has a really weird looking horse on it.
And Alex made this bag.
Yeah, because Audie and I over the summer went to a little library program, which, by the way, go to your local library. But it was like a tote bag making or decorating, whatever it was. You made your odds and ends bag.
I did, odds and ends.
Which I came up with that pun.
Yeah.
But you made the bag, and it's very cute.
Yeah.
But I made a Hans bag. And it's really good.
It's very good.
I can maybe post it on the Instagram or something.
Yeah, it went out in our newsletter for that month, so, missed that.
Get dunked on.
But, yeah, real one saw it first, but maybe we'll post it on the Instagram or something. Now for my favorite section header in these notes, which, by the way, we always write our notes out in a notebook, and then bring them to Google Docs later, and I was making the Google Doc in the school cafe earlier. And so this section header is Blitz's sex shopping.
Yeah, also I normally transfer the notes over, but I am so swamped, so Audie did it for me, which is very nice. But I always do very, like, proper, like, this scene and, like, characters by characters, and then these are really funny headings, so it's really good.
Yeah. So this is another little section. Alex Brighton voices all of these shopkeepers.
Including Fizz.
Including Fizz, of course, yeah. Which is just so funny to me.
Yeah.
Like, Blitz walks into a sex store, it's like, hey, what can I get for you? Walks into the next sex store, hey there, friend!
Yeah.
Like, all a little different, but so distinctly Alex Brightman.
Yeah, because there's no way you can't not be Alex Brightman, at least when he does the Alex Brightman voice.
Yeah, similar to, fun fact, Richard Horvitz, he just sounds like that.
Yeah,
like,
no. Straight up, because, obviously Moxie, but then also we are big Invader Zim fans.
Yeah.
And I do a bit of voice acting, and so when I was like, well, Richard Horvitz has such a distinct voice that he uses for everything. I want to see, like, if he has a process video on that or whatever, and I couldn't find anything, so I was like, let me just hear what he sounds like. I listened to a fucking interview. He just fucking sounds like that.
Just sounds like that. Like, a different, he puts more sauce, I guess.
Yeah, but which I think every voice actor does.
Yeah, but, like, the base voice is the same.
Yeah, because I was trying to figure out the incantation.
Inflection?
No.
In
I don't know. But like the
know.
way that he like speaks and comes up with that voice, but he didn't come up with it.
That's
it's just what he fucking sounds like.
Which is so funny.
Yeah.
Fizz, heart emoji, is the next note.
Oh yeah.
But we just
he's thriving, he has a really cute gay outfit.
Yeah. Right after, he quit working for my mom.
Yeah.
He's thriving.
This is the scene where everyone talks about weight gain, which we did already talk about in another episode.
Yeah, it's not really there.
No.
If it continues.
I really do think it's just the fact that he's in a square outfit as opposed to a triangle one now. But, hey, if it is, then that's great.
Yeah.
Fizz has to finger fuck the keyboard to get it, and the little thing, the screen, it has a face that like contorts and like orgasm faces, and then it opens.
It's like an emoticon face that it vaguely looks like Ozzy.
It looks like Ozzy's little faces is what it looks like.
Yeah. Blitz and Fizz are being such buddies here. I love them so much. We know how I got last episode, so I'm not gonna. But Fizz is being like really touchy, flirty with Blitz in this scene, which is probably just like how they've always been with each other, and now they're back to being friends, so it's like business as usual, like back into the swing of things. Or, and this is really funny, is Fizz just trying to be a really good salesman?
Yeah, I came up with this because it's like, oh, when you work at a fucking sex shop, you gotta be like, oh, you want this. Yeah,
but it would also be so funny if he doesn't usually do this.
Yeah.
It's just like, he's like, oh, Blitz has always been like, we've always sort of had something.
Yeah, he's buying into it.
He's buying into it, and Blitz is like having a meltdown, and Fizz just thinks it's for fun.
Yeah.
Fizz probably thinks Blitz, like, wanted to just casually fuck him or something.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Blitz is like, I've been in love with you for my entire life.
Yeah. You said that in the voice of, we try really hard to make this face. BoJack Horseman shout out. Okay.
BoJack Horseman reference.
But yeah, that... Really good. I want to know more about them in general.
Yeah.
I want them to have a little kiss. It doesn't even have to be romantic.
No,
like,
no,
I just
not
want them to
at all.
smooch on the lips.
Yeah. I have not yet sunk to the level of writing Helluva fanfic.
Yes, you did.
That's true. I wrote a tiny little one-shot about Moxie after X's and O's that was so out of character and not that good.
But you haven't written about Fizz yet.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. I said written.
I have not written. Yeah. Also, the fist bump is cute. That's pretty much all of the notes on Blitz's sex shopping. Is just him and Fizz being cute.
Yeah, and that's all you need.
Yeah, that could have been the whole episode. Him and Fizz just hanging out, Fizz
Yeah,
stuff.
we didn't need the beginning sex shops. Honestly, we just needed Fizzes.
Honestly.
I think the beginning ones there were just to make the cherubs look silly.
Yeah. Speaking of the cherubs, getting to the fight scene with them now. So, first of all, the IMP team shows up immediately. And they were like, yeah, we were following our dumbass boss to make sure that he, gets everything settled. Like, they were following him to make sure he handled things with the grimoire. And that's funny and interesting in and of itself. But what I find fascinating is, did they try to keep following him after this fight with the cherubs?
Yeah.
And if so, were they able to catch up to him? And if so, did they overhear everything?
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't seem like that's being implied, but you have to wonder.
It's really interesting. First of all, directly after the fight, or like at the end of the fight, Moxie and Millie are making out.
Yeah.
So they probably did it.
Yeah.
They probably had other plans.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, because was that their plan though? Like, were they all planning
Right.
to go? Because like, how else would you stop him from fucking up without watching him there?
Yeah, they wanted to see how he handled things with the grimoire, so theoretically they would keep following him after this fight. And like, it's not like, even if they lose sight of him, like, they know where Stolas fucking lives, I'm sure. So, like...
Exactly.
And in Ghostfuckers, which just came out, and we won't talk too much in depth about for spoilers' sake, but it is clear that everyone else knows that Blitz and Stolas had a breakup.
Yeah.
And that he's been, like, messed up about it because he's like, sulking and stuff.
Yeah.
But
and they do all call it a breakup, too, which is really interesting.
But we don't know if Blitz explicitly told them what happened.
Yeah,
so either
which he probably fucking didn't.
Which he probably didn't because he's Blitz. So either they, like, just picked up on context clues, or they continued following him like they originally planned to, and they fucking heard everything.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
That's really interesting. I think, like, it is possible that, like, it wouldn't be out of character for Blitz to just, like, rant about it, like, not in detail, just be like, that fucking bird, broke up with me, or like, he doesn't want to do it anymore, like, that kind of thing. And then after they have confirmed that they do still have the grimoire power, that they're like, oh, and then they know it's a breakup, but they don't know any detail about it. Like, I could see something like that happening.
Yeah.
But then also, it is so much more interesting if they did follow and they did listen, and especially if it was, like, Luna, who, like, saw him come out and then they went home together.
Yeah.
Like...
Yeah. No, I think it maybe is more likely that Blitz, like, tried to play it off as, like, yeah, we broke up, whatever, it's fine, I got a stupid crystal, and then they see him sulking and they're like, okay, he's clearly not fine.
Yeah.
That's probably closer to what happened. I think it's really funny if they did follow him and overheard everything, and he doesn't say anything about it. They're just like, hey man, sorry about the breakup.
Yeah.
He's like, it wasn't a breakup, but thank you. And he never questions how they know.
Yeah.
I think it's so funny.
No, that's so funny. Because it is totally possible that he questions it, like, off screen, and then they explain it, and, like, everyone's on the same page. But no, it would be really funny if he doesn't question it. He's just like, yeah, everyone knows everything about me. I'm the hot shit.
Yeah. I stalk Millie and Moxie all the time. Why wouldn't they be stalking?
Yeah, exactly. No, so true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's really good.
Obsessed with much? God.
But also, it's implied that it's, like, the next day in Apology Tour, right?
I think so, yeah.
That he comes back. So it would make a lot of sense if they overheard and they talked about it, especially if he talked with, like, Luna about it after what we saw in Queen Bee, where they were, like, she was helping take care of his, like, you know,
Yeah.
breakdown. So yeah, it would be interesting.
Yeah. It also, another possibility is that, like, Blitz just, like, they listen in and they know everything, and Blitz is like, Stolas probably fucking told her that fucking cunt.
And he doesn't say that.
No, he's just like, oh, whatever. Stolas, to make matters worse, he's also just dishing out our personal business to my employees. Like, okay.
Which, to be fair, that bird does dish.
He does. He dishes. And that's our way of calling him a faggot. Moving on, though.
Welcome to hell, bitch.
Welcome to hell, bitch.
So out of character. Doesn't sound like him.
It's a Moxie line.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sorry. That's important.
But, like, if you... Welcome to hell, bitch. It just doesn't...
It has not, like, actual fizz delivery, but in the ups and downs.
Yeah.
Like, it's just not Moxie.
Yeah. And it's like, if this were, like, a more important villain, I could see, like, the, you know, like, the emotion in it. But this is just
the cherubs. It's one cherub.
It's one singular cherub, and Moxie is, like, getting all up in their face. Like,
yeah, and
what the hell, bitch?
And he's all, like, demonic as well.
Yeah.
And...
It would have been a better Millie line.
It would have been. And also, Moxie doesn't really, like, talk in fights that much.
No.
He doesn't do that, like that's what Blitz does, and Millie.
I feel like they've just been losing Moxie's character voice a bit.
Yeah.
Ever since X's and O's, like, in bits and pieces.
I feel like they've kind of been losing a lot of people's character.
Yeah.
But then in, Ghostfuckers, we get a bit of Moxie, like, when he's in the office, I'll just say, so I don't spoil.
Yes.
But kind of, like, throwback to, like, first episode.
Yeah.
Like, that kind of... So it's, like, it's interesting. This here being so weird doesn't make a lot of sense.
The little bit of Moxie we get in Ghostfuckers feels like the truest Moxie we've had in a while.
Yeah.
And I think they should lean more into that.
Yeah.
You know. Like, we love character development, but also he's not developing right.
No.
Go back to square one. Like.
Yeah, and I don't think that, like, I think that's a good thing to do when you're fucking a character up really bad, is to just go back.
Yeah, remember their roots. Like.
Yeah.
If that's the direction they're trying to go with him, they're going too fast and it's not working.
Yeah, and the whole, like, welcome to hell bitch thing is, like, I think it is also after Millie gets attacked. Yeah. So it's, like, defensive, which is true, but he's never like that.
Yeah, he's, like, smiling and is all, like...
Yeah, it's like the true demonic, like, you know...
Yeah.
Does not care what's happening thing, which isn't really Moxie.
Yeah, if it's supposed to be, like, the cherub's, like, perception, like, that's one thing, but it's not really coded that way.
No, it's not.
But yeah. But...
I mean, I guess a little bit, because they are so scared about everything.
Yeah.
Throughout, and they are seeing everything differently.
It's not clear if it's from their perspective.
Yeah, no, and if they were going to make that from their perspective, then, like, the shopkeepers that were freaking them out should have also been more demonic looking and things. Like, I think they could have done that, but they didn't.
Yeah. But overall, this fight is pretty cool. The setting is very different from what we've usually seen.
Good color palette, which is something they have struggled with a lot in the past.
Yeah. And the mirroring of the IMP crew against, like, the cherubs is pretty fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The scene. I'm checking our time. We're about an hour, so let's try to bang through this.
Okay, we're at the final scene. Blitz.
Do you want me to take this?
Yeah, go ahead.
Blitz shows up at Stolas' place through the balcony. He doesn't go through the door, even though, like, he could at this point. Mm-hmm. But he never fucking does.
Yeah.
So that's an important detail there.
Yeah.
By throwing a sack, not a bag, not a box, a sack of sex toys over the balcony. Exactly how, well, not exactly going in, but, he did throw the sack out to his dad in the circus. Yeah.
Which is such a fun parallel. This is what I was getting at before with, like, the just small visual details in this episode that are so charged.
So fucking charged.
Yeah, I followed up that note with killing myself. Sorry about that. Yeah, Stolas says, "Do you have my book, Blitz?" And Blitz's smile fucking falls.
Important that this is after he goes, I got this sex toy, I got this sex toy, I got this. He goes like,
show and tell.
He says this for this, this for this for I don't know, but we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
And then the thing that Fizz gave him that he was so excited about. And then he says, "Do you have my book, Blitz?"
Yeah, and like they animated the smile falling like so gradually and smoothly, and it's so like, oh god.
Yeah, and he goes, yeah, of course I have it.
Yeah.
I always bring it. Mm-hmm. It's like that, like really like, yeah, of course, like why wouldn't I?
Yeah, starting right there is where he I mean, getting into this next point, he tears up and says, I will do anything.
Yeah.
Like, there's this desperation that comes in, like, immediately.
Yeah, and this is in response to Stolas, like, asking for the book, right? Like, to have it?
Yeah.
Or I'm needing that back.
Yeah, Blitz is like, oh, hang on, no. And what I find really interesting about this, like, you know, he ends up getting the crystal from this conversation. Like, he loses his thing with Stolas, but he gets the crystal, but he doesn't know that yet here. So I think his fear here is, you know, maybe there's a bit of that fear of like, oh, I like what I have with Stolas, I don't want to lose it, especially after everything Luna said, but I think it's largely here, like, he is scared that he's going to lose IMP, which he has worked so hard to build from the ground up. And he's, like, the imp that made his own startup business with other imps, and, like, he's doing
which we
thing.
learn more about in Ghostfuckers. Dude.
But yeah, he literally, like, feels like everything he's worked for is about to be taken from him.
Yeah.
And that ends up not being the case, but...
Yeah, no, because imagine that, like, your whole life.
Yeah.
You've worked to be independent, and now you are, and now you have a business, and it's the business that's finally taken a peek, in Moxie's words.
Yeah. The way Stolas leads this conversation, like, come on, man. Like, this is not... truly the privilege he has to not realize the fear that he's putting in Blitz at this moment. It's like,
that's it, is the privilege. I mean, that's, again, a thesis statement.
Yeah.
But, yeah, the way... Because I can understand that Stolas is trying to be like, give me my stuff back so then I can, oh my god, surprise you.
Yeah, it's not that...
Is, like, makes a lot of sense, but, yeah, like, he doesn't understand that he is understanding that he's taking the tool away, and, like, that's gonna have a bit of a negative impact, and that's why the surprise is so, like, big. But he doesn't understand, like, hey, I'm actively ripping your heart out, and everything you've ever worked for.
Everything it represents.
Yeah.
He's just going based off of this, like, romantic fantasy in his head, like, those unrealistic expectations we were talking about.
He's doing one of his Hellunovellas.
Yeah. Oh my god, he is. Yeah. Another visual detail.
Yeah.
God. Stolas puts the grimoire back on his bookshelf and puts it between a book that's about pirates and a book that's about plants and herbs. Herbs from when they were kids.
Yeah. Fucked up.
Which, first of all, great callback. Second of all, he's literally separating him and Blitz with the grimoire, and that's what it's always been about, baby.
Yep, baby.
It's so good.
It's so good. It's so fucked up.
So good. I am going to kill myself.
Respectfully. I skip it every time. I feel like we need to tell the podcast that we've been saying that. If you listened to last episode, there was a part where we were talking about, what's that song actually called?
Crooked Smile
or Crooked Heart, I think.
Crooked Heart, yeah.
And we were talking about it, and I said, "Oh yeah, it's cute. I do skip it every time." Exactly in that voice, and Audie's just been saying that about everything.
It's part of my vocabulary now. It doesn't even apply most of the time.
No.
It's like, yeah, it's good. I skip it every time.
But then after the book thing, and when Stolas is like getting the crystal, Blitz says, "Am I not fucking you good enough? Because I can do better. I can always do better." You said I'm gonna kill myself again. I didn't see that till right now.
This is what happens when I do the notes. I'm so sorry.
But then Blitz does his little nervous tail flip, which we see when he's a kid, and he's performing. And it's like, ew, this scene fucks with me so bad. The way he is like, and the way he has it in his voice, he says like, "Because I can do better. I can always do better."
Yeah, again, that desperation and that like childhood like performance.
Yeah, and like also not just childhood performance, and the fact that like he is a child, like right now, like he's back to square one. He is out of control. He has lost everything.
Just like Ghostfuckers.
Which is like, ugh. But then on a more happier note, or like neutral note, I guess, the tail flick is definitely also just a stim, because he's autistic, and I wanted to note that.
Yeah. Bit of a slight pivot. The Osmodian crystal, like, Stolas kind of, like, brings it to Blitz's hand, and it just fits directly into the glove that he's always worn.
It, like, clicks in.
And why/how?
Yeah.
Because, like, does it just, like, magically embed itself into his clothing? Like, maybe it can do that with anything?
That is probably the case, is that it just magically embeds, or, like, there's a certain, like, Ozzy designed it because he knows he's always wearing those fucking gloves.
Yeah, like, Stolas got those gloves fitted.
Yeah, or even just Ozzy looked at a fucking picture of him and was like, alright, we'll put on the gloves. And made it that shape. But yeah, I think that logically it would click in, but I like your theory.
Yeah.
The
next one?
Yeah.
Yeah, that these are Verosica's gloves.
Yeah.
That Blitz took from when they were dating, because Verosica is a succubus.
Yeah.
And all the succubi that we see, at least, they all get the Osmodian crystals.
Mm-hmm.
So if they're Verosica's gloves, that would make sense.
Imagine, too, if Ozzy knows that Blitz wears Verosica's gloves, and then Ozzy tells Stolas how that made him feel.
Yeah! No, what I imagine here is Ozzy is like, okay, you'll also need to, like, purchase, like, some sort of clothing accessory for the crystal to go into, unless Blitz already has something like that, and Stolas is like, oh, I don't think he does, and then Ozzy brings out some examples, and Stolas is like, oh, those gloves! He has those gloves!
That's really good.
That's what I'm imagining.
I don't think, logically probably not, but I want to imagine that is what happened.
I like to think, I really like the bureaucracy around the Osmodian crystals, like the paperwork intake
Yeah.
that we're talking about, and then also like, oh, purchase this additional accessory.
Yeah.
Like,
especially because they're like, you're not allowed to have them. They're like a very, very specific group of people.
Yeah.
So to have accessories and stuff for extra purchase is really interesting because it's not like, corporation.
Yeah. I can imagine Stolas is like, I want to go all out and get Blitz an accessory, and then he's like, oh wait, here he has that.
Yeah. He does get him a little fancy box.
Yeah, it's true. Fucking proposal.
Yeah. But then also, no, actually, because unless, sorry. What? Actually.
Actually.
The, hold on.
Yeah.
Okay, when he, there could have been intake forms before.
Yeah.
And, like, the accessory thing could have happened before, but he's not meeting with Ozzy when he gets the crystal. They bring it to him. We see that in Look My Way.
That's true.
Yes.
That's true. Yeah.
I forgot about that because Look My Way is not something we analyzed a lot, but...
Yeah. But, again, when we get into some bonus content, maybe we will.
Didn't we already?
Did we not? Did we?
Yeah, just a short one.
I don't remember that.
Maybe we didn't.
I thought we were going to. And maybe it wouldn't make much sense to now, but, we're going to do the shorts. So we can group it in with those, maybe.
I thought we did. We'll look at that. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
We totally are so professional.
We're so professional. Also, I feel like we have to reference, oh my god, is that an Asmodean crystal? Which is...
We should, I think I have it screen grabbed, like, the exact part that we're going to be talking about, and maybe I'll post it on the Instagram, even though I don't know if I'm allowed to, because it's not our video.
We should just, like, link to it on our story, maybe.
Yeah,
it's a video, it's an animatic, right?
It's an animatic to Stupid Face by
Kid
McKay.
Which is a great Blitz and Stolas song.
It is.
But what they did was, for the sort of, like, speaking interludes of the song, to make it fit Blitz and Stolas more, they just used, like, an AI voice, like, text-to-speech kind of thing, and had Blitz go, oh my god, is that an Asmodean crystal? And we reference it all the time.
Yeah, it goes, is that an Asmodean crystal? And then it goes, those three little words. Like,
out of the
no
so
break.
Funny. Shout out to the person. Let me try and find that video just so we can credit the person.
Yeah. Which, if you're not familiar with the pacing of this song, by the way, it says, the person that's not, or it doesn't actually say it in the song, but one of the breaks is for someone else that's not the person singing it to say, I love you.
Yeah.
So Stolas goes, I love you. And then they have this, and then shows the Osmodian crystal. And then Blitz goes, oh, is that an Osmodian crystal? And then immediately, those three little words.
And this was obviously posted before Full Moon.
Yes.
To be clear.
But it's So funny. Especially because there's a really, really good voice acted, really thought out edit to the song.
Yeah.
And then there's this one.
Yeah. I can't tell if this is the right one.
The black and white one.
Well, is it this one? Or is this a different one?
I don't know. Skip to the part. Sorry, we are literally just.
I'm trying to find it, but without audio, it's hard.
They have, like, the crystal in the part.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Here's them arguing.
Sorry that you cannot see them.
So.
No.
No, this isn't it.
It's not
this
it.
This one's more accurate to what
yeah, it's not it because he threw it on the ground.
Yeah, the one we're talking about is it's what Stolas was envisioning basically.
Yeah.
Like, I give him this crystal and then we're in love forever.
No, literally that's what it was. It's not very good. I mean, like, the animation is great, but really the plot's not there.
Yeah.
I'm
sorry, I'm trying to find it now.
Yeah, I feel like maybe we should
move on.
Yeah, I can. If you find it before the end of the episode, we can say it. But otherwise, there's like 3 animatics maybe of it. You'll know, and you can know the creator. Like, we're not trying to take any of the credit. I don't think.
Yeah.
Like, it is. We should say it, but if we can't find it, we're actively on the air. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, the next point we have is that Blitz basically just says what Stolas wants to hear. After this, like, in the little, like, roleplay, like, oh, I get it. This is a roleplay thing.
Yeah.
And in the roleplay, he does say exactly what Stolas' vision is. So that's the fucked up part.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And then Stolas gets mad about that, but it's like, is he mad because he's not taking it seriously? Like, and that's what he says. Or is he mad because he says what he's thinking in a sarcastic way?
Yeah. And, like, Blitz he's not, like, trying to be a dick here or anything. He just does not understand.
And he 100% comes across as a dick, to be clear.
Yeah, he does, but he's, like, he cannot process the fact that Stolas is serious about being in love with him.
Yeah.
He genuinely is like, oh, this is what we're doing now? Okay.
Yeah, especially because, like, you can't just never have a romantic relationship with someone and be like, I love you with my entire heart and I want you to stay with me forever. Like, what?
Yeah, like, from Stolas' perspective, like, we see how we got there, but from Blitz's perspective, he's totally thrown off by this.
Yeah, because from Blitz's perspective, he's a sex object for this guy who really likes fucking people of the lower class.
Mm-hmm.
Like, in a kink way.
Yeah.
Like, that is what he sees himself as in this relationship.
He's being fetishized, but in return, he gets to run a successful business.
No, literally,
That's the transaction in his mind.
Yeah, like, he is a commodity in this situation.
Oh.
And then also, like, his whole, it's worth noting, his whole issues with love, and he doesn't think he's capable of being loved, etc., etc.
He ruins everyone he likes.
Yeah, etc., etc.
All of the... that just felt crazy.
Hard pivot.
All of the paintings on the wall as they're, like, walking down the hallway, which, now that I'm saying, very reminiscent of the circus when, like, the 25 years later when Blitz gets caught trying to sneak in for the grimoire.
Yeah.
And Stolas is leading him down the hallway past all the pictures. Mm-hmm. It's that, but...
Yeah, especially because when he walks him down there, Blitz, like, looks around and is, like, taking the whole thing in. But in this one, he's only focused on Stolas.
Yeah, and then also in that initial scene, he's trying to... he was trying to steal the grimoire, and now it's Stolas taking the grimoire back. Yeah. But yeah, and the pictures here are all, like, covered with, like, curtains and shit, except for the ones that are of Via.
Yeah. Which, first of all, he's covering them the gayest fucking way he can with little pretty pink curtains.
Yes!
Second of all, this mirrors Blitz's crossing out his face on all of his pictures.
Yeah.
And also, I'm wondering how Via thinks about this, because obviously, like, she's probably glad that she's not being covered, because that would be fucked up. But, like, seeing your dad cover all the paintings of your family... Like, a family would even be one thing because they're going through a divorce, but himself. Like, there's ones of just her and him.
Yeah, because, like, what I wondered... And what's interesting about those is that he specifically, like, if it's him and her, he leaves her face uncovered and covers the rest of it.
Yeah.
It's not like he leaves the whole thing uncovered.
Exactly, yeah.
And then... But, like, my initial thought was, like, oh, is this, like, because of, like, the divorce? Like, he's getting rid of certain ones, but he wouldn't be getting rid of the ones that are just him and Via.
Exactly,
So, like, what is the purpose of this? Does he just fucking hate himself? I guess.
Yeah. Especially because the one of him and his dad, too, is just completely covered.
Oh, yeah.
So it is just Via that's out. And you're right, it's like she, like, peeks out.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like... Is it because he can't, like, look at himself? Like, what is it? Because I assume that's why Blitz crosses his face out. Or, like, that he feels like maybe in his mind, like, Via doesn't want to see pictures of him either.
You know what would be fucked up?
What?
Is, like...
I don't know if I'm ready for whatever the fuck you're gonna say.
No, it's not really anything crazy, but
okay.
Just, like, imagining... Because obviously Blitz goes to Stolas's all the time and has seen where Stolas lives, but Stolas seeing Blitz's house, one, obviously how much smaller it is, like the fact that there's only one bedroom and it's for Luna because Blitz gave it up.
Bro would understand class divide, finally.
And then seeing all of the pictures of himself scratched out, I just feel like that would fundamentally rewire everything in Stolas's brain and he would understand.
Yeah. I don't know if this was like, not like a full fic but like a, you know, like a on Tumblr thing.
Yeah.
Or if this was like a video or what it was. But I saw something that was like, it was an animatic. That was like Stolas coming to Blitz's thing. I think it was a trauma porny one in the fact of like he was gonna kill himself or something. You know, this fandom.
Standard,
or maybe not kill himself, you know, like he was concerned. He like wasn't answering or something.
Yeah.
So he shows up at his apartment and then like but and there was, like, I don't think it was really touched on, but I've been thinking about this a lot because that is, like, he's never been there. That would change everything.
And that really, really is so much of it.
Yeah. Especially because we've talked a lot about, like, obviously all the characters' houses, except for maybe, other than Millie and Moxie's bedroom, their house doesn't really say a bunch. But, they obviously say something about it.
Yeah.
About them as a character, but like Stolas is like, as far as it being like that castle he didn't buy, you know, he like it doesn't say a huge amount about him. What?
I think that in and of itself also does though.
Yeah,
like,
that's true.
He was just born into this giant house and just kind of forced to inhabit it for better and for worse.
That's true. But in Blitz's case, it's like it really says everything about him. The only thing that's unscratched on his wall is Luna's adoption certificate. He gives up his room for Luna. He sleeps on a broken ass couch with a little horsey blanket. Like, it's
they're so the same and so different.
Yeah,
Stolas.
It's fucked up.
It's all for their daughters. It's all.
But with Stolas's thing, it's all for his daughter. But is it?
Right, because it is. But also like. Fucking acts like it then.
Yeah, not recently it hasn't.
Yeah.
Like, obviously when she was little, it's very clear that it was.
Yeah.
But I don't think he's being a very good dad at the moment. But yeah.
Shall we... I feel like we're stalling, because the next bullet point is the line.
Oh, I'm not stalling. I'm just gabbing. But no, go ahead.
Me too. I feel like maybe subconsciously we're like, okay, let's hang on. Let's not get there yet. But, you royal fucks think you can do this every time. Like you can just play with our feelings because we're smaller and not as important.
First of all, literally starts crying at smaller.
Yeah. Second of all, I am killing myself.
You didn't write it that time. You just wrote God, period.
Yeah, well, I felt like I should stop saying I'm gonna kill myself because, to be clear, I'm not, but
yeah,
also I am. Like,
yeah, we shouldn't do this because it's making a joke out of suicide, but if anyone wants to do I'm gonna kill myself count of this episode.
I didn't know where the fuck you were going with that. I thought you were gonna be like, if anyone wants to kill themselves.
No. A little inside joke about us again, then we'll stop doing outside of the show stuff. We were talking about something, and this was very valid in the context.
And to be clear, I believe this was spring of freshman year.
Before. Yeah. Before.
Yeah.
Before what?
Never mind.
We were talking with friends, and I don't think you know where I'm going with this.
No.
Okay. Sorry. I think we were trying to talk about two separate things.
No. Never mind. You go.
Okay. Basically I said, okay, kill yourself to someone really monotone once, and then we quote it all the time, and I was about to say it, and I felt like the podcast should know. Was not telling them to kill themselves. There was more to the sentence, but everyone started laughing and cut me off.
Yeah, no. From everyone else's perspective, Alex went, okay, kill yourself. I was about to say more, but just the delivery of that.
No, because I laughed. I said, okay, kill yourself, and then I breathed to talk more, and you all were like, wow. Especially because in freshman year, I was really reserved.
Yeah, this was our freshman year. This was like a year and a half ago at this point, which is so funny. We have to move on.
We have to move on. I did not need to tell you guys about the okay, kill yourself.
No, it's just that's also a part of our vocabulary.
Yes, it is. That's why I almost went to say it.
Yeah.
Okay. The chandelier is covered. Completely. It's the same chandelier that they were under when they were kids, and they were like lying down and having a good time. They're under it for the big peak of the fight.
Yeah. Which, okay. Also, this is why I don't understand why the pictures are covered, because why is all of this stuff covered?
Yeah.
Because that's why I was thinking, like, oh, divorce, like, you know, Stella's taking some stuff, he's getting rid of other stuff, he's just doing a revamp. But, like, that doesn't make sense for the pictures of him and Via, where he clearly, you know, still wants the pictures of Via. Like, I don't know, I don't understand.
I don't understand either. I think...
Is it just meant to be visual, metaphor for everything that's happening?
It's probably... That doesn't make sense. Yeah, it's probably... Like, it might... That's very much probably true. I hope that we get, like, because sometimes with this show we'll get a moment that's like, okay, yeah, everything makes sense. Yeah. I hope we get that with this, because, you know, sometimes we do. Because, you know, it could be he's covering certain stuff because he genuinely can't bear to look at it, and he, like, just tells one of his servants to cover it. And the chandelier makes sense if that's one of them. And then pictures of himself, pictures of his family, and of Stella. But it is a really weird way because you can see through it all. Yeah. So maybe his servants are just shows about things. But I don't know. I think any way that we think of it is really roundabout, and there might be a really obvious thing that we're missing. Yeah. But I can't think of anything.
Yeah. Maybe they're like moving. I don't know.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Maybe he's gonna kill himself. I don't know. That's genuinely all I can think about. Yeah. Because he's trying to erase himself from his house. That's what he's doing. Yeah. Yeah, and not to get morbid, but, like, that's what you do when someone dies. You cover the shit in their house.
Yeah. Similar vein, actually, our next, in terms of, like, the argument they're having, Stolas' own self-hatred is, like, coming in, which we were sort of getting into earlier, where it's, like, influencing how he responds. Like, he's not really fully listening to, like, the points that Blitz is bringing up. 'Cause, like, granted, Blitz is, like, yelling, and it's hard to have, like, a proper civil conversation when someone is yelling at you like that. But also, Stolas isn't really processing any of it because he's just so caught up on, like, how bad it makes him feel and, like, how that affects his own self-hatred.
Which is a really, really common communication issue with people who are emotionally immature. Yeah. Like, from a psychology standpoint, that is, like, just fundamentally makes a lot of sense. Yeah. I think they did that really well.
Yeah. And so, you know, with Blitz yelling at him like this, Stolas is just kind of like, that's how, I'm so sorry that's how you, or I don't know if he says sorry, but he's like, I can't believe that, you know, I think so highly of you and you think so badly of me, and then kicks him out physically. Like,
not even physically, magically teleports his ass out of there.
Yeah, by physically I mean he's not just like leave. He literally like.
But it's not physically. It's not even physically either, because physically would allow Blitz to fight back. It's magically, which I think is worse.
Yeah, takes control fully out of Blitz. Just decides independently. I need Blitz to leave. I'm gonna make Blitz leave.
Which, like, it is his space, but also they're actively having a conversation that could be productive. Like, like fighting isn't, you know, super healthy all the time, but, like, fights can end very productively. Yeah, and this is just
instead of engaging on any level, he just chooses to end it because he can't handle it. But, like, you know, Blitz has a lot of reason to be upset here. Yeah. And Stolas isn't giving him that space to express it, which also makes sense why in Apology Tour, like, the next day, Blitz comes back and is like, hey, dude. Yeah. I'm not fucking done.
But then I gotta give it to Stolas that he's decently calm when Blitz does come back and then he walks away. Yeah. So, like, that I think was handled well on his part.
Yeah. To magically remove Blitz from his space like this is also a power we've never seen him use before. Yeah. And we never really see him use any magic with Blitz. Like, there's Truth Seekers where he comes to, like, protect him, and, like, that's a huge, big display. But that's for Blitz's benefit.
And I think he's, like, grabbed things, but he's never, like, used magic on Blitz before.
Yeah.
Like, he's used it to protect him, he's used it to make convenience, but he's never used it on him.
I think even around Blitz in general, I think he does try to abstain from using it because it's sort of like trying to see himself on the same level as Blitz.
He also just doesn't use it a lot.
Yeah.
Like, he definitely could use it more, and he doesn't.
Well, I'm thinking of in Lululand, how he totally has the ability to protect himself, but he asks Blitz to go with
exactly.
him. And it's not until the end of that episode where he, like, chooses Via that we see him, like, actually make use of his power. So, it just feels like it's sort of a way of him keeping them on the same level. And then here he's
and
like,
keeping him close.
Yeah. And here he's like, okay, we're not on the same level.
Yeah.
And I can't be around him. So he uses his magic to remove him.
He's also really escalated at this moment. So he, like you said, he's not thinking about how it might affect Blix or anything about, like, keeping that level. He's just thinking, get out of my house.
Yeah.
And then he does that. I think also, like, I think at the root of this is just the fact that they're both really emotionally immature in opposite ways.
Yeah.
They're both traumatized in opposite ways.
Yes. Which is my favorite dynamic.
Which is, like, because the emotionally mature way to handle this would have been Stolas being like, I need space. Get out of my house, please.
Yeah.
And then Blitz being like, fair enough, we'll take space. That would not have fucking happened.
Never happened, no.
Exactly.
But
that's what I'm saying, like, textbookly, that is the way that it should go. And obviously neither of those are gonna, like, even if Stolas turned around and was like, hey, I need space.
We tried really hard to keep this.
Blitz would be like, fuck you.
Shut the fuck up, man. I'm yelling at you.
Yeah.
Can you at least have the decency to let me yell at you?
Yeah, exactly.
And in Blitz's, it's earned. And I think Blitz yelling in this moment, I think is earned. Like,
yes.
You know, obviously the ideal conversation here is where they, like, both take a deep breath and they, like, think.
They regulate.
They speak to each other like adults. They're like, okay, so I'm feeling this way because... But, like, that's not how that works.
No.
In real life, even. That's just, you know...
I mean, it can in real life, but mostly in, like, an established relationship where you've had a lot of time to work out those kinks. Which obviously is the whole problem, is that this is not an established relationship where they've had time to work out the kinks.
Yes.
Well, they've had time to work out the kinks, but...
But even in, you know, even in, like, an ideal, super healthy, mature relationship, it's totally normal and natural to have moments.
Yeah, it's never perfect.
It falls apart and you have these more escalated moments. So, in that sense, I think the anger that Blitz expresses here, I mean, it's certainly better than how he wasn't expressing any of this before.
This is true. And Stolas doesn't fucking see that. Because Stolas' whole thing is he wants more expression, he wants to talk to him, he wants him to be real, he wants to be close and intimate with him.
But only the good stuff.
Yeah, because if you're going to be close and intimate with someone who's extremely traumatized and really fucked up in the head,
you gotta...
this is what it's going to be like.
Yeah. And you just gotta get good with that.
Yeah.
And you can't make it about yourself. You're like, you think so negatively of me, get out.
Yeah, it's all rooted in him.
Yeah. There are times where maybe you won't want to hear, because, you know, who wants to hear someone criticize them and yell at them like that? But, like, there are times where you have to realize, like, I need to put the other person first and hear what they have to say. Also.
Yeah, and not even putting them first, just hearing what they have to say and thinking that it might be possible.
Yeah.
As opposed to Stolas is either being like, I'm sorry you think so lowly of me. You think so lowly of me.
Yeah.
He's not saying I am so low. I'm sorry that I have treated you that way. Yeah. There's no accountability here.
No, none of it.
Mm-hmm. And, like, Blitz doesn't have a ton of accountability either, but he does have some. Like, he's saying, like, I think he even says I'm sorry for some stuff at some point, and we know that Blitz doesn't fucking apologize except for to Stolas.
Yeah. Yeah.
But Stolas, no accountability at all.
No. Oh, man. And then, our last, like, note on the episode itself, but then we have some more credit stuff.
Yeah.
But Blitz is magically teleported outside, and he's, like, on, like, by the, like, outside of the front steps.
Yeah. And his car is there, too, as well, right?
I
actually don't know.
I don't know.
I think I'm a liar. I don't think it's there.
Okay. It would make sense if it is, but I can't remember. But it's similar to towards the end of Ozzy's when they go to, after, like, they leave Ozzy's and Blitz drops Stolas off at his place, and then
hits his head, kicks his legs out,
yeah.
etc.
And then Blitz, like, drives off and leaves Stolas by himself on the stairs. It's sort of same setting, sort of paralleling that.
And he is by himself on the stairs.
It's Blitz by himself.
And the fact that Stolas teleports him directly to the stairs.
Yeah.
Like, he could have been, like... I don't think he could to his apartment because he's never fucking been there, but, like, he could.
Yeah. Also, it's, like, he didn't teleport him, like, to the front door. Like, he put him outside. Like, at the bottom of the stairs.
Yeah.
Like, as far outside of the castle as he could. Basically.
Yeah, exactly. But it is interesting. It wasn't on the parking lot. It wasn't in the grass. It wasn't in the garden. It wasn't on the patio. It was on the stairs.
Those fucking stairs.
Yeah. So that's crazy. And then for credits, is this the first one where it's fully X'd out?
No.
Okay.
It's been X'd out for a little bit.
That's what I thought. I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, we've been keeping track more recently on how Blitz's name is written in the credits, because I think there were times where the O wasn't X'd out at all, right?
I think there were maybe just the pilot, but yeah, at some point.
Yeah, and then there's sometimes where there's just one
Slash.
line through it.
Which is most of season 1.
Yeah, and then I think it might be Ozzy's where it switches. I don't remember.
It's either Ozzy's or Queen Bee.
Yeah, where it becomes a full X through the O.
And then it's been an X.
We don't really know what it means, other than general speculation. Yeah. And then there's also no blood splatters in the background, like, of the credits, the cards that the credits are on, which is maybe not really that important, because we were looking, and that's true of quite a few episodes.
Well, we went back. It's true of season 2, episode 7 on.
Yeah.
But in season 2, episode 7, it's only one of the cards that has blood splatter on it.
Yeah.
As opposed to, I think, most of the time, it's most of them.
Yeah. It might not be any kind of pattern or anything. It's just, an inconsistency, so we gotta note it.
No, it's worth noting, because this fucking show, it might be meaning something.
Yeah.
And then the most jarring... No music.
There's no music
in the credits.
There's no music. Which is
just completely silent.
Which every time I get to the end of this episode and then the credits start, I just sit there staring at it like,
yeah. And it's really interesting too, because like they could have done so much. They could have done the kids song, they could have done Owl in a Cage, they could have done so much. Yeah. But they just choose to make it silent, and that whole thing with music, that it's like silence is your like strongest thing. Like a rest is the strongest thing you can do. Like it's most powerful. That is true.
I think also getting into another point of discussion we bring up every now and then about the music in the show being diegetic, meaning that the other characters can hear it. That's not like true of the credits necessarily, or even it's not even true of all of the music in the show, but a lot of the music is diegetic, and so I think it's interesting that like there's just nothing here.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing for them to hear.
There's nothing of their relationship.
There wasn't even really anything before, but
there
was something, and now there's nothing.
Yeah.
And I think that's interesting.
God, I want to talk about Ghostfuckers.
We're so close.
We're so close.
But that...
Not even the episode. I just want to, like, reference it right now, but I can't. Because it just came out. But, yeah. And it's jarring for the audience, too, because it's like, we watch Blitz scream at the top of his lungs, what the fuck? Yeah. And then it's just silent. So it's like kind of putting us in the shoes of the character a little, being like, okay, there's nothing. Yeah.
Like that moment after Blitz screams, he's still, we don't see it, but he's still standing there.
Yeah, he screams. No one comes for him. And he's just there. Alone.
It's giving in Undertale and nobody came. Sorry.
You're right. You're just a nerd.
Yeah. But that's the end of the episode. We did it.
Only in an hour and a half.
Whew, that's pretty good. For this fucking beast, that's pretty good.
And for this podcast, that's really good. Yeah. We're so sorry.
We talk so much.
We love to gab.
Please stop listening to us on your Amazon Alexa. No, please continue.
Also,
it's so fucking funny.
It is really funny. We are just worried that you are a 12-year-old and you are making your family so bothered.
Shout out to all of the moms and dads out there who hear our voices reverberate around your living room.
Yeah.
We're so sorry. Thanks for being a real one.
Thank you for letting your kids listen to this out loud.
Yeah.
You are a real one.
Yeah.
Also, though, if you're fully... Because Audie at first was like, this is a child, and I was like, yeah, no, that's probably true. But also, it could be someone that's listening to us while cooking dinner, and that's very homely and cute, and I really like that. So if you're doing that, keep it up.
Yeah. Keep listening listening to us in any way you can.
Yeah.
We appreciate your listens.
It is just a shockingly high amount of Amazon Alexas,
Yeah.
like statistically to the rest of our show.
Yeah.
Because like most of it's just like Spotify.
Yeah. But like of all time listens, 15% is so many.
Especially because there's Amazon Alexas, and then there's also smart devices.
Yeah.
So this is just Amazon Alexas.
Yeah.
It's not Google Homes. It's not anything else. Not a speaker.
It is just Alexa.
It's just Alexa.
But anyway, follow our Instagram at AA Discussions if you aren't. Sorry, I had to burp. If you aren't already following it.
Linktree in our bio. All the
Linktree.
links are there, including our newsletter,
Yeah.
which you just missed a new one of.
Yes. And also on that Instagram, we'll maybe post Alex's Haunts bag and
True.
also a link to that animatic we were talking about.
True. We also post updates every single time we post an episode,
Mm-hmm.
and every time there's something fun. Sometimes we just get goofy on the story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a lot on there.
You can message us. We love when people message us.
We
on
love
there.
when people
It's so
message us.
fun.
No one has messaged us in like a good month.
Yeah, please reach out. We know life gets in the way, but you know we love it.
Also, if you've already reached out to us, you can reach out to us again. We have one fan that like periodically reaches out to us every single time they have a thought. So you totally can do that.
Yeah.
And we you know who you are. We appreciate you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next time we are gonna try and get through all of Apology Tour.
We'll see.
We'll see.
Might be a long one. If you see it's a long one, that is why.
Yeah.
And then
And then we'll be caught up.
yeah.
Or no.
Yeah.
We won't.
Well, we'll be on Ghost Fuckers.
We'll be on Ghostfuckers.
And then
There's a new episode releasing in November.
yeah, and we might do the shorts in between there somewhere.
Yeah.
We say this every single time. We have not decided.
We're gonna figure it out.
We will do the shorts at some point. We had a lot of you asking. We will be talking about the shorts. It may be when they come up, or it may be all at once. We want to do it all at once logistically, but timeline makes sense to do one at a time. You'll see. They'll come out when they come out.
Yeah. I think it is safe to say that assuming nothing crazy happens scheduling wise, we will be like caught up with the show by the end of the year.
Yeah.
When the season ends. So that's exciting.
Yeah, and then we'll probably hop off of every 2 weeks because we will be working internships and jobs.
Yes.
And not be in the same location. But we will probably do bonus content. We might even do... Actually, you guys should let us know if... Because Audie did a bonus episode, and it was just you talking. And I wasn't there. Let us know if you liked that format, because then we can do individual bonus content. But if you prefer... Obviously, you probably prefer us together because we banter. But if you liked that, then we'll do that, because it will be a better quality. But if you really need it to be both of us, we can do that too. Let us know in the comments, because Spotify has comments again. And YouTube, if you're listening on YouTube.
Yeah.
So comment about that. The Helluva Q&A, what if we ask...
Okay.
Who listens on their Amazon Alexa?
Yes,
okay, so
please
that's
let
gonna
us know.
be our poll. If you are on YouTube, there will be no poll because I can't do that on YouTube. But you can comment if you listen on your Alexa. But those stats are specifically from Spotify.
Yeah.
We can't see that on YouTube.
Yeah.
We can only see like smart device.
Yeah.
So
And if you haven't listened on an Amazon Alexa, consider it.
consider it.
Consider joining the 15%.
Consider blasting this not even on an Amazon Alexa, just on a speaker.
Yeah.
Maybe like next block party you go to.
Yeah. But that's it for this week. So thank you and stay sexy.